Greetings, critters. It's Fox here, and welcome to my Bureau of Thoughts, aka my channel, where we talk about everything spooky. And today will be a double book review of some of Jeremy Bates's work, which is Merfolk, and I read on my Kindle Suicide Forest. So settle into your burrows because things are about to get spooky. So, a little bit about the plot of Merfolk by Jeremy Bates. It is about a marine biologist named Marty who has devoted his entire career to the search and findings of merfolk. And when a journalist from his past brings forth some footage of a shark necropsy performed by an oceanographer named Elsa, where a really strange skull is found, Marty thinks this could be the break of his career, so he and his assistant, the journalist, a friend, and Elsa the oceanographer, reluctant as she may be, decide to embark on the journey to find merfolk. But what they find is anything but what they were expecting. So my thoughts on Merfolk by Jeremy Bates are I loved the premise of the story of these carnivorous, possibly evil merfolk in the depths of the ocean to which we haven't yet to explore. I love that, and it drove me to pick up this read for sure because I've never read anything really with mer people in it. So that was a really interesting take. And also, there's a lot of folklore and different legends around different cultures, and I found that so fascinating, the folklore of it all. It was really interesting to find out how different cultures had different or different versions of mer people or mer folk. Also, the idea that Marty has when it comes to merfolk, which is evolutionary science of how humans have evolved from merfolk. I found that really intriguing. I thought, wow, that's really interesting to think about that these creatures that come from the sea that we have yet to explore could hold secrets to how us humans evolved. So I really, really enjoyed that. That was really fresh, and I thought that was really interesting. However, the online retailer that I bought this book from did describe this in the horror genre. I, however, found it to read as a subdued action. There wasn't a lot of spooks or thrills. There also wasn't a big enough twist for me to qualify this even as a thriller. However, I feel that's just a genre issue with the retailer putting it possibly in the wrong selection. So I do not blame Jeremy Bates for being semi let down because I really wanted to read horror. I'm not big on action. I am a devoted horror fan. I love being scared. So this did let me down a little bit. Also, I found the characters lacked luster. I wasn't really invested in any of them, and quite frankly, there was a character that was a love interest for Marty that I felt was really unnecessary. I kind of felt if it had been the journalist, Elsa, and Marty, then it would be more intellectuals going on this journey. However, because it is an action or horror, I understand that he needed multiple characters to create multiple different scenes of action, thrills, and spooks and all that, even if it did fall short for me. Um, this did require me to push through a little bit because, like I said, I wasn't expecting an action book. However, there were aspects that I liked about it, and I am happy I read it because I have read other works by Jeremy Bates before. And when he does write a true horror novel, they are sensational. So I do still intend on reading more from Jeremy Bates. So all in all, I think I'm going to give this a rating of 2.5, maybe 3 tails out of 5. Like I said, love Jeremy Bates, didn't deter me from reading more. I just don't think I'm going to pick it up again, and I look forward to reading more from Jeremy Bates. Now, let's get on to Suicide Forest. So, a little bit about the plot of Suicide Forest. In Tokyo, there is Mount Fuji, and around Mount Fuji is this very dense, very large forest that has been dubbed Suicide Forest. And it has been dubbed this, unfortunately, due to the fact that it is the most famous place in the world for people to commit suicide. And that's really sad because it is the case in real life in Tokyo. There are also legends that in these woods are ghostly specters of those who have taken their lives. And a group of friends decide, well, a group of people that become friends on their journey uh, decide to climb to Mount Fuji via a path through the forest. But when darkness descends and they decide to spend the night and come across one of their comrades hung in the tree in the next morning, things ensue from there. So my thoughts on Suicide Forest are gleaming. I loved it. It was my first read by Jeremy Bates, and it did not disappoint and instilled me to buy more of his work. I really did enjoy it. I like the premise of mental health being a subject matter of horror because it is an epidemic in our world today that I feel needs to be discussed. Even if it's explored in the horror genre, I feel like it made it more realistic because that's something really real that people face and that is around us and others. So I really loved that. It was also a really good paced read with a lot of good action scenes. A lot happened. And I also found that the idea of being stuck in a forest overnight and then being stuck further when one is injured, waiting for rescue or deciding to go get help in woods that you have no idea where you're going is terrifying on its own. When you add ghostly specters picking you off one by one, talk about a spooky read. And then there's also the characters that are being picked off. There's a multitude of cliques and relationships in this story, which I thought married well together. There's a tension, there's new friendships made, and it was really well rounded. Also, it had good written dialogue, which I love in a book. Hate when dialogue drones on or is too much or is very vague and not necessary. So this really did have good dialogue. But the thing that made me really, really love this book was the plot twist and the ending. It threw me for a loop that I had to reread the last part twice because it was so good and so unexpected. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And it did not disappoint. It had many aspects of horror, ghosts, survival, and twists. So I really recommend this book. Now, again, I must issue a trigger warning. As the title states, there is mental health warnings, suicide warnings, and also sexual assault warnings. So if that is something that triggers you or bothers you or just doesn't interest you, there are plenty of works by Jeremy Bates that will definitely scratch a horror itch. So I am rating this 5 tails out of 5. Loved it, recommend it, Lady Fox approved. Well, critters, that's all from the Stenophytes. Thank you so much for being here and watching today. I really appreciate it and love you all so, so much. It means the whole wide and wild wilderness to me that you came and watched today. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, stay cozy and stay spooky. Bye.